30 segundos. Vamos a ver qué hay. Vamos a quitar la música. Sube el volumen por acá. Ok. Mande bonus. Ahí va. Vamos a ver. Se viene, se viene. El resultado tiene 250k de views. Ok, bueno, le ganó a los demás. Se viene, se viene. ¿Quieres cambiar el juego de Twitch?
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Thanks so much for joining us here today. And today is the day
Mira el
about Path of
calvo,
Exile.
qué maravilloso.
You're gonna find out a lot of awesome stuff we've been working on. Before we get started though, I wanted to mention that there are Twitch drops that you can win. Below the live stream there are some instructions for signing up and linking your Twitch account with your Path of Exile account, and if you do that, you'll be eligible to receive the drops. So today's live stream has got 4 sections. They say you should start your show with a bang, so we're going to start right off with Path of Exile 2. After that, we're going to show you Path of Exile Ultimatum. This is an expansion for regular Path of Exile that's coming out literally next week. After that, we're going to be joined by Ziggy D, who's going to host a Q&A where he asks me a whole bunch of questions from Twitch chat. So if you have any questions about the various reveals, make sure to keep them for the Q&A. Then there's going to be a live episode of the Bay Class podcast where Taki Cat and his crew of Path of Exile veterans are going to discuss all of the things we've announced today. They'll be joined by Rory Rackham, who's the Grinding Gear Games developer who was in charge of the development of the Ultimatum League.
Básicamente están avisando todo lo que van a hacer.
Let's get started.
Trailer
You're probably wondering
y
why
gameplay.
has it been so long since we last showed you any Path of Exile 2 footage.
And
honestly, this is because the project is so important to us that we are definitely taking our time to make sure that we make the best possible action RPG.
That guy
Let's
is
watch
new.
a new trailer.
I'm sorry.
Among ancient ruins, evil grows once more. The seed of corruption advances, spreading dread and despair. We must give chase.
Ahí, look at that. Oh, Dios. Mira la iluminación. Mira esas sombras, vieja.
These sands hide countless secrets.
What?
1,000 years of dormant malevolence.
¿Quitaba 2.0?
We must hunt down the seed and put an end to this madness.
Hey, ese tipo lo hemos visto varias veces.
Great last is to survive.
¡Mira la barra de vida de los jefes! ¡Oh! Por fin estamos que sigue en el 2013, más o menos. No es el Elder, confi. Para nada. ¡Dios! Oh, me vine un poquito. Un poquito. Debo admitir que la barra me hizo venir un poquito, ¿ok?
That trailer really shows what we have achieved with Path of Exile 2. I am so proud of the efforts of the entire team in putting that together. At ExileCon, we announced that Path of Exile 2 is a true sequel to Path of Exile. So that means a new 7-act campaign, it means a whole new skill gem system, new items, new monsters, character classes, all the Ascendancy classes are completely new, it's got cutting-edge next-generation graphics that you just saw. Basically,
Esto
it's
se veía
everything you'd
hermoso.
expect from a sequel to Path of Exile.
Se veía hermoso.
But we're not just throwing away our legacy, we're embracing it. Both campaigns will be fully playable from within the same game client. You'll be able to play through the original Path of Exile storyline or the new Path of Exile 2 campaign on the way to the shared endgame. All of your old characters will still be playable, and of course, any microtransaction purchases you've made in Path of Exile will carry on to the sequel.
Out. Okay.
At ExileCon, we introduced the dark forests of the island of Ogum, where you start your journey. Today, we're proud to showcase Path of Exile 2's second act, which takes place in the Vastiri Desert.
Vastiri Desert. Eso como el acto
Welcome to Path
5
of Exile
para...
2's second act.
Para
As you saw in the trailer,
para
Act 2 is
Exile
centered around a caravan of Maraketh called
GG,
the
no
Ardura,
danger.
who live in the Vastiri Desert. You're chasing another caravan from an opposing tribe called the Faradun. There's a set of large ancient gates blocking the progress of the caravan through a desert.
Oh, Dios, ¿qué es eso?
that pass, so you're being sent through the traitor's passage to
¿Soy
unlock
yo?
them.
We shall wait here, Jingak.
No, no soy
The
yo.
military carts have departed for the gates. Make haste.
Dios,
Path of
es
Exile
el
2
lag.
is a lot more than just new acts. We want combat to feel both brutal and responsive, even at low levels. We're
Uy,
ensuring
las
that each
barras
weapon
son
type has
muy
unique and different
lindas.
mechanics. Each weapon class feels different to play, and today we're going to start by demonstrating the new Spear weapon class. Spears are a
¿Spear?
weapon class favoring mobility with both melee and ranged attack options. To that
¿Lanzas?
end, each spear will grant you at least one mobility skill. In this case, the spear comes with both an engage and disengage skill. When you engage, it increases your melee damage for a short time, and
Mars.
it really encourages you to be mobile during combat.
Necesitamos lanzas, vamos a tener que sí,
One of the
ballestas
skills
para...
we're using here is called
eh,
Whirling Slash.
pa-
When
para-
you use
para
Whirling Slash,
rango.
it creates a sandstorm that grows in size each time you use the skill. When you leave the sandstorm, it explodes, dealing damage to nearby monsters. A great way to do that is to use the disengage skill, which makes you fly backwards and throw projectiles.
Uf. Dios, hasta la barra de maná, el globo de maná se ve hermoso.
In PoE 2, each area's mini-boss is a much more substantial fight with interesting mechanics.
Es que tiene
You'll
un
be able to
filtro
find
de
at least
estricto.
one mini-boss in each area of the game. One thing I love about this boss in particular is that it destroys the ceiling when it slams the ground, letting in more light. Clever players will notice that if they're
Oh.
standing in the light, then they're not going to have any rocks falling on their head.
Oh. Está diciendo que este jefe cuando golpea el piso rompe el techo y te
The rapid
caen
assault skill that we're
rocas
using
encima.
against this boss
Entonces si
does
estás
3
en la
rapid
parte de
stabs,
luz,
followed
no
by
te
a
van a caer
fourth
rocas.
stab that deals more damage and can stun if you're willing to commit to a long attack time. While developing the skills for Path of Exile 2, we were really thinking a lot about designing skills that could be cancelled early to dodge, or you can commit to the full attack for maximum damage.
Dios, qué hermoso se ve, no lo puedo creer. Oh, un único. ¿No agarraste el único, bro? Hasta ellos saben que son basura.
Can't disrupt the rhythm of combat.
Acabo de venir como
One of
tres
the
veces
skills
ya.
we're using here is called Spear Field, which creates an area of spears coming out of the ground that impale monsters who walk into them, causing them to bleed. As the monsters move towards you, they take damage.
Ni siquiera he visto
so using your
las
mobility
habilidades,
skills
tiene un
as a
montón de
way to move
habilidades
away
nuevas.
from them is a great strategy here. In Path of Exile 2, we've invested a lot in our animation system. I'm sure you're noticing the animations are looking a lot better than they did in PoE 1. But there's also a lot of subtle detail, like characters having different run animations depending on how fast they're moving. When we use a Quicksilver Flask here, you can see the character changes to a sprinting animation.
Dice que hay pequeñas sutilezas, como que por ejemplo el personaje cuando va más rápido tiene una animación distinta para correr. Y mi pregunta es, ¿cómo se va a ver cuando tenga un Headhunter y vayas a la velocidad de la luz? Quiero saber cómo se va a ver eso. O sea, vuela nada más. Va así como Superman. O se ve como una caricatura, un remolino en los pies y ya. Este es el truco borrar. Uy, mira esta la pantalla
Now
de carga,
that
se ve
we've arrived
linda.
at the Ancient Gates, we're going to show you another of the new weapon classes in Path of Exile 2,
¿Qué pasa,
crossbows.
Thunder?
Crossbows
A
are
ver.
special in that they grant attack skills implicitly. This particular crossbow grants Power Shot, which is a high damage single target attack. In order to modify what Power Shot does, you're going to need to equip Bolt skill gems, which change the type of bolts that are loaded into the crossbow. Here we've got 3 different bolt skills that the character can switch between depending on the
Nice.
situation.
Armor-piercing bolts. Incendiary bolts.
Permafrost bolts can be used to disrupt packs of enemies to prevent them from closing in on your position.
Estos
You
son
can then
como,
follow up with armor
como
piercing bolts to do
estancias.
plenty of damage.
Como estancias, pero de rango. Qué interesante.
Join me in battle.
In this area, we're helping Asala, leader of the Ardura, to open the ancient gates and let the caravan through.
Armor-piercing bolts.
Dios, qué lindo.
Because the bolt types are the skill gems, support gems that are added to them will modify whatever the skill is that you're using.
Va a cambiar por
Here we're going
completo,
to
sí.
add multiple projectiles to our incendiary bolt.
Mira la animación abajo de cómo está la caravana, cómo la están jalando. Uf. Ok, ya sé que va a jugar en Puedes. Ya sé que va a jugar en Puedes, gente. Dios, se ve hermoso todo. O sea, donde pongas el ojo se ve hermoso. Seguro.
In Path of Exile 2, we're doing a lot more interesting things with monster packs. Here you can see some of the monsters patrolling around.
Todas minions en Puedes, no, los van a eliminar. Escuché rumores. Minions estaría uff. Flicker Cock en Puedes. No empieces a cero. No lo sé. No creo que muestren minions. Esperemos que no. Espero que no me dañen el trailer. Dios, se ve demasiado bien. Me encanta. O sea, miren hasta acá. En los ladrillos. Miren los ladrillos. Ninguno es del mismo tamaño. O sea, no es como que un asset que está reciclado y puedes encontrar el patrón y simplemente lo copiaron y pegaron varias veces. O sea, es como que cada uno es, ¿cómo se llama? Único. Yo viéndole estoy en 144 veces. Este dice, pero yo igual que puedo,
Mini boss, Lim the Impaler.
Okay.
Incendiary bolts. Armor piercing bolts.
The boss has dropped another type of crossbow, a siege crossbow. This crossbow grants
Dios,
a
es
siege cascade
gigante.
skill.
Eso fue lo que
The
dijo ella.
skill is also modified depending on what type
No,
of
en
bolt
serio,
you use.
es gigante el crossbow. Bueno, es como un arco de 2 manos. Es como un arco gordo, sí.
Armor frost bolts.
Oh, este se disparan del cielo y los otros los disparaba de frente. Wow.
Onwards. Give these demons no quarter. Incendiary bolts.
Me pregunto qué pasará si yo en la historia tengo 400% de velocidad de movimiento y tengo, no sé, facing movement y paso por el medio de todo. La caravana se mueve tan rápido como yo, tengo que esperar a que llegue. ¿No te lavaba? Sí, perdón. Dios, es
We tried
hermoso,
to
en
add a
serio.
lot more little details to combat in Path of
Crossbow
Exile 2.
igual.
You might notice that the monsters who die while burning have charred corpses.
Miren,
We really want to make sure that there's a feeling that as you leave the
yo soy
battlefield,
medio
there's
imbécil,
clear
¿ok? Yo
evidence
soy
of
medio
war
idiota,
combat took
lo
place
admito.
there.
Pero ustedes entienden, ¿ok? Ustedes me entendieron lo que quise decir, que era bastante grande en el inventario. Eso era todo. ¿O este disponible se compra o es gratis? Es gratis, tengo entendido. De que va a ser, bueno, ya va, capaz ahorita me cagan, pero ellas dijeron que iba a ser gratis, va a ser simplemente la secuela y punto. No tienes que comprarla. Sí, ahorita que lo dije me como que, ya va, esto fue demasiado lindo para ser gratis. No, yo creo que sí, yo creo que a se le está yendo bastante bien y si lo venden yo creo que
Incendiary bolts.
va a ser negativo, en mi opinión. O sea, va a ser mucha publicidad negativa, creo yo. Pero, I don't know.
Incendiary bolts.
Dios. Chicos, no estaba viendo los follows. Mega agradecido por los follows, gente. Después los agradezco. Pero esto se ve demasiado, o sea, es mucho más de lo que yo pensaba. O sea, lo que vimos en el Exile se veía muy lindo. Pero cuando vi a Diablo 4, yo dije, bueno, Diablo 4 se ve un poco mejor. Pero era esperable de que se viera un poco mejor. O sea, Blizzard es una compañía gigante y son famosos justamente por hacer juegos muy, muy lindos. Visualmente y gráficamente son hermosos. Pero viendo esto, sinceramente con la mano en el corazón, esto se ve mejor que Diablo 4. Esto se ve mejor que Diablo 4. No sé qué opinan ustedes. ¿Escuchan la música? Oh, qué buena la música también. Eso es PoE 2, yes. Mira, esa ballesta no se ve mala, pero déjame decirte algo. Me gusta más la otra. Dios. Wow. Wow, en serio, wow. Se ve muy parecido a de 2 HD. ¿Viste? ¡Ey, lo pedego! Gracias por el Prime, bro. Face bump. ¿Vamos a seguir usando el piano flask? No lo sabemos. Ojalá. Muy agradecidos por el Prime, bro. Talk to the Defector. Qué hermoso es también hasta los diálogos. Me gusta mucho cómo están. Sí, parece que Javi, gracias por explicarlo. Para las personas que tengan la duda, o sea, tengan en cuenta que esto no es que va a ser un juego nuevo. Lo están diciendo como PoE Exile 2, pero no va a ser un juego nuevo. Eso va a ser la actualización 4.0 de PoE Exile. Y en la actualización 4.0 tú puedes decir cuál de las dos jugar. Tú puedes jugar en, ¿cómo se llama? En la campaña de los 10 actos que ya conocemos. O podemos jugar la campaña de 7 actos que va a ser la de PoE Exile 2. Y el endgame va a estar unificado. Va a ser el mismo endgame, no importa dónde juegas. ¿Los diálogos fueron cambiando desde Haste? Sí, me parece que fueron cambiando desde Haste. Pero igual, no sé si esto me parece que se ven como un poco mejor. O no sé si es que simplemente odio Haste. Y los alijos, yo creo que los alijos y todas las cosas que hayas comprado, ellos dijeron de que todo eso lo iban a pasar a la a PoE Exile 2, o sea, no pierdes nada.
Only that you do what you know is right. One of the things we really wanted to do in Act 2 was to use the mobility of the caravan to
¿Cómo se llama esto?
allow the player to choose how they explore the act. Here you're given
El voice
4 options
acting
on how to
es
proceed.
muy bueno. ¿Cómo eso los drops? Estás 30 minutos viendo el stream, te van a dar unas alitas a tu juego.
They worship the bones of those long ago beasts, and that faith has given rise to powerful tasks that can somehow call on storms and strike enemies with lightning. The king wishes to steal these objects of worship and use their lightning in war.
No, esto nada más está mostrando lo que llevan hasta ahora de PoE Exile 2.
Keep your presence light. Cleanse what corruption you can. And we shall skirmish with the Faradun to protect your flank.
No tienen que hacer nada para los drops, solamente estar en el stream.
To that area and come to a stop so that you can disembark and go on your quest.
Si no puedo conectar mi cuenta de Twitch al PoE, no me dan nada, correcto. Así que tienes chance de hacerlo, porque esto va a durar unas cuantas horas, tengo entendido. ¿Tienes avance cuando salga el juego? Wow, no tengo idea. Vamos a ver. Tienen que hablar de eso. Tienen que hablar de eso, no me van a cagar y no me van a decir. A ver este. Oye, esta está nada mal.
Blazing Lance creates a trail of fire from the
Ya va,
ground.
esto es exactamente la lanza del Mars, pero con la Blazing. ¿Te dan un código? No, va directamente a tu cuenta de PoE Exile. Frostblade de rayos. Oye, la de fuego se ve muy cool. La de fuego se ve muy cool. El rango de la eléctrica también es bastante bueno.
We've just found a unique
Me
spear.
muero.
It's called Devata's Wind. This spear has an extra modifier that synergizes really well with Storm Spear.
A
When you
ver.
disengage, you get 2 additional projectiles on your projectile skills.
Sí, pero es una lanza única nivel 1, así que... Whatever. Qué linda se ve la de fuego. De verdad que la de fuego me gusta mucho. Probablemente la eléctrica sea mejor, pero la de fuego se ve muy buena. Se ve muy buena esa. Estamos tirando la primera. Okay, no puedo negar a que no tiene ciertas cosas. Wow, me encanta esa cosa que parece... ¿Cómo se llama el demonio gordo de Doom? ¿Saben el de Doom, el demonio gordo? Se parece a ese. Me gusta. No tendrás un main skill sino varias. Y es igual que PoE. Tú puedes tener varios skills o tener uno solo. Tú decides, solamente que aquí vas a poder tener varios skills debido a que vas a tener acceso a más links. La de fuego reta mucho los projectiles. Tienes razón. Llenas toda la pantalla. Limpias toda la pantalla. Con HH. Oye, ese ya lo conocíamos. Ese es el de Abyss. Ese es el de Abyss, ya lo conocíamos. Wow, la animación eléctrica es demasiado linda. Fíjense cómo hay destellos en cada parte del cuerpo. Es hermoso. Hermoso Carrion. Niños confirm. Bone Colossus. O sea, ese es un Big Boy. Qué lindo el diseño. Son 2 jefes. Esa es como la versión mejorada de... ¿saben? El acto 1, el jefe que nunca nadie mata. Porque es en Fetid Pool. ¡Qué buena pelea! ¡Oh, Dios! Este man le queda 1 HP. ¿Por qué no mata al otro? Le queda 1 HP. Ahí está, se murió uno. ¿Vieron la barra? ¿Cómo se convirtió en una sola barra gorda? En lugar de ser la barra por la mitad como era antes. ¿Gameplay de los 7 actos? No, van a poner gameplay solamente del segundo acto. Yo creo que esto es todo.
If you have any questions about what you just saw, we'll be doing a Q&A later on. While Path of
Dios.
Exile 2 definitely won't be released this year, we do have a
Sí.
Path of Exile expansion you
También
can
van a hacer
play
eso,
1 week from now.
Rengo. Van a
I'd like
mejorar
to
la
introduce
actualización.
Path of Exile Ultimatum.
Ok, vamos a ver el Ultimatum.
You only live once, Exile.
YOLO League. YOLO League confirm. Wow. Hey. ¿Qué ataque era ese? Ok, ese sí lo conozco.
A simple ultimatum. Leave with your life and a meager reward, or risk it all for a chance at ungodly riches.
Es como un mini simulacro.
While you accept, the challenge grows. But fail and leave with nothing.
Ah, entonces estábamos equivocados, gente. No hay absolutamente nada de crafting. Es un delirio con ritual, sí.
Reap the reward you deserve.
8 nuevas gemas. Core Drop Pool, Vendor Recipes, Lord of the Labyrinth, Veiled Mods, what? Reworkearon todo. Abyss Jewels, Esencias, Betrayal, Bright, Bridge, Perandus, Incursion, Delph, Atlas, Stop, bro, what the fuck, at City, Incubators, Bestiary y mucho más. What? ¿Qué mierda? Reworkearon todo.
Requires ultimate risk. Face the ultimatum.
What? Ok, tengo muchas preguntas.
When some people
Tengo
think of
muchas
Devour
preguntas.
Civilization, they think of blood sacrifices,
What?
or Queen Atziri, or lost temples in the jungle. But I think of risking your
Y
items.
Reliquari, ¿verdad?
From
Lo
Varlords
vimos.
through double corruption, the whole Valor no balls meme. We had to make sure
Dios.
that this expansion was about the concept of risking your items to get great reward.
Es más grande que la liga
In each
anterior, mucho
area
más
of the
grande.
Ultimatum League, you'll meet the Trial Master, an emissary of a vile entity only known as Chaos. On behalf of Chaos, the Trial Master enacts trials where exiles must risk an escalating set of valuable rewards as they
Ah, quiero ese
attempt to
portal.
overcome progressively more difficult
Quiero ese
encounters.
portal.
In each trial, you'll be presented with a reward, an objective, and a selection of difficulty modifiers that make the trial harder. Once you've chosen one of the modifiers, you must then complete that objective under the constraints of that modifier in order to win the promised reward.
O sea, si te sales del sitio,
If you
pierdes
succeed
el
in the
encuentro.
challenge, the Trial Master will present you with an ultimatum. Either walk away with what you have earned so far, or risk it all to try to win additional rewards. He'll offer you another item if you can select an additional difficulty modifier and
Dios,
complete
la
the
cara
challenge
de
with both modifiers
Chaos.
present. If you fail, though, you'll lose both rewards and walk away with nothing.
F, bro.
If you succeed, you'll be offered an additional reward in
Oh
exchange
my
for adding yet
God.
another difficulty modifier that stacks on top of the current ones.
Gente, en hardcore,
This cycle continues
uno
until
solo
the
y ya.
rewards become increasingly valuable and the encounter extremely difficult.
Oh, ¿puedes ver todo lo que te
You'll
va a
have to pick a
caer?
point to end your run and claim your spoils before you make the encounter too hard and lose everything. At its
Wow.
longest, an ultimatum in endgame maps can sometimes have up to 10 fast trials in a row, with a special surprise in the last one.
¿Hasta 10?
In maps, you'll
O sea,
occasionally
ritual
find
pero en
items called
esteroides?
inscribed ultimatums. These items can be placed in the map device to transport you to the Trial Master's
Ya va.
domain. Each inscribed ultimatum specifies an offering that you must bring with you, a reward you can earn, and an assortment of ultimatum difficulty
Duplica la
modifiers.
cura
If you're
sacrificada.
able to complete the trial,
Easy
the
double
Trial Master
mirror.
will reward you with the specified reward, which is usually worth around twice the value of the item you must bring. For example, you may be asked to risk an Exalted
Ooh.
Orb to win a stack of 2, or potentially risk a stack of 5 to win a stack of 10.
No puedo poner
Naturally,
un stack
inscribed
de 10
ultimatums
para que me
can
den
be
20.
traded with other players, so if you don't feel capable of completing a difficult challenge, you may be able to trade it away for a portion of the difference in price between the reward and the item that must be risked. Likewise, if you have a powerful character, you may be able to selectively trade for profitable ultimatums to run.
What?
There are also new unique items that can only be obtained from Ultimatum. One such unique is the Glimpse of Chaos Val Mask, which
Es
provides
lindo
powerful
el-
benefits to your maximum life, mana, and energy shield at the cost of having severely reduced elemental resistances and no chaos resistance. The item can be corrupted multiple times and has unique corruption outcomes, such as removing a random modifier or transforming it into a different random corrupted unique helmet entirely that retains its corruption implicit mod. Another new
What?
Val unique
O
item
sea,
in
es muy
Ultimatum
fumado.
is Mahuzot's
What?
Machination,
Corrupted
which grants
Soul?
you 6 keystone passives at
Divine
once.
Flesh, Eternal
Combining
Youth,
all of these
Everlasting
keystones
Sacrifice,
results in
Immortal
some very
Dimension.
unusual outcomes, and the item features an entirely new unique keystone as well.
¿Esto cambia o siempre es así?
We've worked
Porque...
hard to make sure that Ultimatum doesn't punish you for being in a party with other players. Party members compete in trials together, but have separate rewards available to them that will need to be locked in to begin the trial. Each player votes on which difficulty modifiers to select. If there's a draw in votes, the modifier will be chosen at random. If one player wants to take their reward and opt out of the next difficult trial, they're able to do so without stopping the other party members from continuing. Rewards are dropped allocated to the players who earned them.
What? O sea, esto lo
So
puedes
that's
hacer en
Path of
party.
Exile Ultimatum.
Y sabes, si
I
tú
can
no
tell
eres
you
un
on
pussy,
release
puedes
day, a lot
seguir
of our
y al otro lo
developers are
sacan
looking
y todo lo que
forward to
caiga es para
watching
ti.
Twitch, so we can see players risking far too much in order to try to get good rewards. Speaking of rewards,
Ya voy a perder
there's a lot to
todo.
talk about here. We took a look at Path of
Voy a
Exile's
perder
past
todo
reward
la
systems,
última.
and we honestly feel many of them
Ya lo
are
vi
outdated,
todo.
many of them kind of lack identity, and
Voy a
to top it
perder
all
todo
off,
la
the
Ultimatum.
core drop pool of just items that drop when you kill regular monsters just wasn't really compelling enough. Like, you know that feeling where any monster could drop a mirror? We want that for a whole slew of different items.
¿Ya
And
qué?
so we've made a lot of changes to Path of Exile's reward systems. There's a bunch of ones to the core drop pool
What?
to keep it really interesting. There's ones to basically every piece of League and expansion specific
¿Ya qué?
content. And we're going to go through all of those for quite a while now. And I should
¿Ya
mention
qué?
that every change we're about to discuss not only affects the Ultimatum League, but also Standard League too.
Van a cambiar todo y que incluso van a
We
cambiar
started
cómo
by reviewing
funciona.
which items can drop from monsters and chests in the core game. To make sure the core drop pool remains compelling, we've made various changes.
Okay,
You can now find 2 additional currency items as core drops, Orbs of Binding from the Harbinger League,
Okay.
and the new Veiled Chaos Orb, which we'll reveal in more detail soon.
Veil Chaos Orb.
We've also added 5 new Atlas base types, like this Energy Shield Recharge Amulet. These drop in specific regions
Increase
of the Atlas
chaos
of
damage
Worlds
in
and have
one ring?
some powerful new implicit mods. Another topic related to the core drop pool is that of boss runs. Veteran community members will remember when people used to do Val Oversoul or Dominus runs over and over because they were a profitable use of time. Final Act bosses now drop more and better items, giving you a much more satisfying close to a difficult act and a more
Okay,
item-focused approach to getting ready for maps if you prefer. We've also
Okay.
added a bunch of very powerful and
Básicamente todos los
valuable
bosses
league
de los
specific
actos ahora dan
uniques
más
into the core
ítems
drop pool.
y mejores
This means that
cosas.
they can drop from any sufficiently high-level monster without you having to engage with specialized content.
¡Ey!
Examples of
Vamos
these
esas
are
alas. Ven
Badge of
ahí,
the
gente.
Brotherhood, Asylum, Pledge of Hands, Maloney's Mechanism, Brutus's Lead Sprinkler, and Headhunter. The goal of all of these changes is to make sure that every monster you kill in Path of Exile has a chance to drop something incredibly valuable, regardless of what content you're playing.
What?
On top of all of that, we have added a handful of new vendor recipes, which let you make some pretty cool stuff. We really missed the days when players were scrambling to try to find unknown recipes, and so we're looking forward to seeing how long it takes for you to discover how these ones work. We have also introduced a new type of reliquary key into the core drop pool for this
Reliquary.
expansion. If you're very lucky, you can find a Val reliquary key from any monster or chest in Path of Exile. When consumed in the map device, it gives you access to a vault with a chest that drops a special foil version of a Val-themed unique item. Each
Val
unique has an
theme?
equal chance of dropping. Due to the value and power level of the items contained within, this is the rarest reliquary key ever added to Path of Exile. The rest of our reward changes relate to items that you can earn by playing past content like prior leagues.
Pero
and
no son los
expansions.
mismos, Javi.
We have 2
Son
goals
distintos.
here. The first is to add
Eso es
and
lo que me-
improve items so that
Okay,
all
okay.
past
A ver,
content is a
traducción.
compelling set of rewards. The
Básicamente,
second goal is to make it so that the best way to get any rewards
básicamente
is to play
hay
content
una
that's
llave especial que te va a
primarily
llevar a un sitio donde puedes agarrar un ítem de ligas pasadas
Path of
y va a
Exile's
estar
first
foiled.
expansion, Sacrifice of the Val,
Eso es
introduced a
permanente,
new
no es
ultimate
esta liga, es
boss,
permanente.
Azeri, Queen of the Val. This fight holds up pretty well these days, considering that it is 7 years old, but its rewards really needed a refresh. The Sacrificial Garb base type that drops from Azeri has been significantly improved with the addition of an implicit mod that grants +1 to the level of all Val gems you have equipped.
What?
We have also added 2 new unique items to Azeri's
No,
drop pool
uniques
and 2 more
Azeri.
to Uber Azeri's. One of
Queens
which
de
is
Mal
the
Skin, no sé qué es
Azeri
eso, bro.
Judgment Staff, which prevents you from being stunned
puede
by
ser
your damage
estudiado.
inflicted. It grants a skill that alternates between Flames of Judgment and Storm of Judgment when used, as if you absorb the powers of Azeri herself. Skipping forward to 2016's
Okay.
release of Ascendancy,
Ascendancy.
we have made some changes to how you receive your Labyrinth enchantments. Previously,
No
if you
reflect, lo
completed
vi.
the Labyrinth
Dios,
and went to
qué
enchant an item, you couldn't see what random result you'd get. Now, the result for each type of enchantment is shown to you in advance so you can make the right choice.
Okay, ajá,
In the
ajá.
Eternal Labyrinth, you're now offered 3 different helmet enchantments to pick between.
Lo sabía,
in addition
lo
to the
sabía que lo iban a
collection
hacer.
box.
Ahí
This will
está,
make
te
it a
muestran
lot
varios.
easier to find enchantments relevant to the skills you're using and to apply them to appropriate items.
Ahora te
In
muestran varios.
3.14,
Ahora sí vale la
we
pena
have
hacer el
stopped giving
laberinto.
out unique jewels for each day's fastest labyrinth runs, and we have added these jewels as very rare drops that you might find in the labyrinth's final reward chests.
Ajá, ajá.
Another highly requested labyrinth-related
Lo
improvement
puedes
is
conseguir en
that
los
you can
cofres
now
también.
consume
Okay.
an offering to the goddess and the map device to open portals directly to a random trial. This greatly accelerates the speed at which you can find your final trials. We've
Dios,
also
no
added
más
2 new
820.
labyrinth-specific unique items,
Básicamente puedes
including
meter una
the Scales
llave
of
del
Justice
laberinto ahí
unique
y te abre un
shield, which
trial
rewards building
aleatorio.
your character with a careful balance of life and mana.
La gente de
If used
Social
correctly,
Found puede
you will
morir
grant
feliz.
protection from shock and ignite, as well as additional fire damage.
Dios, ok.
Kadira Parandus now has a much larger selection of unique item rewards. We have also rebalanced
Eso sigue
all
siendo
sources of
bullshit.
Parandus coins so that Parandus content is still the best place to get them from. A craft introduced in Harvest kinda destroyed the Parandus coin economy, so we're absolutely facing it at the same time. Essences have been numerically rebalanced and are in general stronger than they were before. Screaming essences can now be used to reroll rare items, in addition to their capability to upgrade items to rare. The 4 corrupted essences have had some of their less useful outcomes improved or replaced. Now, the only way to get the powerful upgrade-only top-tier essences is through remnants of corruption, which come from essence content. Blessings, the currency used to upgrade breach uniques, can now be used to upgrade breach stones between tiers also.
Ok, Breach toda mi vida. Eso es lo único que voy a hacer Breach en la mañana, Breach en la tarde y Breach en la noche. Voy a hacer Breach todo el fucking día.
4 new Abyss-specific unique jewels, such as Tekrod's Gaze, a murderous eye jewel that increases your main hand critical strike chance and your offhand critical strike multiplier based on how many murderous eye jewels you have equipped. Another example is the Luminous Gaze searching eye jewel, which counts how many searching eye jewels you have equipped and grants your projectiles a chance to be able to chain when colliding with terrain proportional to this number. These unique jewels have a chance to drop from any of the unique encounters at the end of the Abyssal Depths, and these encounters are now by far the most reliable way to obtain a Stygian Vice belt.
Okay.
We have added a handful of new beastcrafts, such as add a mod to a map, or add a mod to an influenced item, which consume existing beasts.
To a map.
There are some other aspects of beastcrafting that we've been keeping our eye on for a while, and we're taking this opportunity to rework them, so that high-level gameplay is less reliant on obtaining certain beastcrafts.
Okay.
Now,
Eso es más o menos
splitting
bien, pero no tanto.
recipe on an item, both copies are marked as split, which prevents them from being split again. You cannot imprint split items. One of my favorite rewards.
Bien, que se jodan los que hacían eso todo el tiempo. Y sé que lo hice en algún momento, pero que se jodan. Eso era bullshit y me alegro que lo mataran. Me alegro que lo mataran. La gente que le gustaba splitear las armaduras 50.000 veces, no, fuck you. Ok. Básicamente, sabes que tú puedes partir un ítem en dos, ¿verdad? Puedes splitear un ítem. Y lo siguen spliteando 1000 veces y por eso habían 50.000 armaduras, ¿verdad? Bueno, ahora no se puede hacer eso.
Many of these base unique items have been improved.
Porque quedan marcados, se puede splitear una sola vez.
Previously, the temple's boss, the Omnitect, dropped random rare items as
Ok, vamos a ver. Básicamente lo que están diciendo es que pueden todos los jefes y todas las cosas que estén nombrando la están reworkeando para dar mejores cosas. Y mientras más alto tengan los rooms del templo, mejores recompensas te va a dar el jefe.
Temple mods have been buffed so that if your temple has more high tier rooms, then it's equivalent to a good map. We have performed a modernization pass on rewards from temple rooms so that they're competitive
¿Qué ataque es ese? Me encanta.
The explosive shroom also contains some basic chests that can be opened with flash powder kegs if you don't need them for opening a path elsewhere in the temple.
Oh.
Delve has had a big increase to early rewards and a reduction to the quantity of high-tier rewards spawning at very deep depths. The end result is that Delve is a lot more rewarding for almost everyone, but a few extreme players who delve very deep will not be getting quite so rich from it. A big problem with rewards and betrayal is that players
básicamente Delve es mejor para los que jugaban menos. En menos profundidad era mejor Delve. En gran profundidad es menos mejor. Ok, Salsiña debe estar llorando y no me acuerdo quién era el otro que era un Deep Delver.
Encourages the use of a larger variety of syndicate targets and safe house leaders. We have improved rewards that were not as interesting or valuable as the best ones.
Ok, mejoraron los rewards de Betrayal.
Moved them to tier 4 rather than nerfing them.
El tuna
the
también.
Tier 4 rewards are approximately twice as powerful as tier 3 ones were. We have also added a new unique item to Katarina's drop pool as further incentive for killing her.
Pusieron un nuevo ítem para Katarina.
Drops only from Katarina. Similar to Paradoxica, it has 3 veiled modifiers that must be unveiled one at a time.
¿Qué es veiled modifiers?
This means that each version of the cane could be entirely different, and because of the way the veiled modifier system works, you have the chance to get 3 mods that potentially synergize extremely well, or maybe just a crazy bag of mods that don't work together. Furthermore, the cane itself scales up the magnitudes of any unveiled modifiers on it. We have made some changes.
Puedes conseguir algunos mods buenos o 3 que no sirven para nada.
Mods, but these are now more powerful versions of the existing ones.
Okay, a ver.
The powerful ones are unveiled onto items, and the normal versions are the ones you unlock that can be crafted onto items. Also, progress towards unlocking crafting of veiled mods is at a slightly faster rate than before.
Oh,
Some
wait,
very powerful
ahora los
build
mods
modifiers
que
now
estás
only
desvelando
available
son
their
más
original
poderosos
strength
que
on
antes,
build version of the
pero
modifier,
los que
and the
puedes
crafted
craftear
version
son
of the
igual de
modifier is lowered
fuertes.
in power.
Por lo tanto, vale la pena
Earlier in the
craftear
presentation, I alluded to
cosas
the
con
new Veiled Chaos
desvelar
Sword as an
cosas.
item that has been added to Path of Exile's
Pues
core
puede ser el
crafting.
equivalente como un tier 1 o
This
algo
new
así.
currency item rerolls the target item with new mods, like a regular Chaos Orb does, but one mod is guaranteed to be a Veiled mod. While it can drop from any monster or chest in the game, by far the most effective way of getting it is from isolating in some betrayal safe
Esto es un
houses.
caos que funciona si el
We've
ítem está
introduced 3 new types of
velado.
incubators for Blight, Metamorph, and
What?
Delirium, and have
¿Cómo se
modernized
reclama?
the
Estaba
rewards
30
for
minutos en el
reality
stream.
incubators. The item yield from chests and blighted maps is now affected by a portion of the map item's quantity, giving you a reason to roll your blighted maps if you can handle
Ok,
the
ya,
additional
eso es
challenge.
medio meme.
Anointments to blighted maps have been rebalanced and reworked
Ok,
so
ok,
that
a
each
ver.
has its own purpose and with a consistent increase in reward as the
Ah,
models get
¿qué
rarer.
le hicieron al
This
Blight?
is
A ver.
basically entirely buffs, because one big nerf we needed to do was already done last league. You can now corrupt blighted maps. These can very rarely drop the new
corromper.
tainted oil, which allows you to apply anointments to corrupted items.
Puedes tener un Tainted Oil que sirve
We've
para
also
ponerle
introduced
anointments a
blighted
ítems corruptos. What?
We have added 2 new types of catalysts themed around speed
¿Nuevos
and critical
catalistas?
strikes, respectively. These new
Speed y
catalysts are rarer
critical.
than previous ones.
Dude, yo creo que eso es un problema.
As discussed in the
Sinceramente.
recent development manifesto, the current 3.13
Oh,
version
Dios.
of Harvest is too rewarding, so we're rebalancing its crafting and also increasing how often you'll encounter portals to the
Harvest es
Sacred Grove.
muy
The
recompensante.
current version spams you with way too many crafts, so each
Ok,
season
ya,
has a chance to
aguanten un
grant a
momento.
craft now, reducing the overall number of crafts you can perform per garden, though you will encounter the grove 60% more than you did before. Some of the most powerful crafting options
Ya
have
va,
been removed
calma,
or changed.
calma, calma.
The
Ojo.
heart of the Grove encounter is now a map fragment that can randomly drop from tier 4 harvest bosses instead of rarely replacing the
Ok,
entire
eso está
grove
bien.
when it spawns.
O Xavi la activas cuando tú quieres y
With
no
the
te sale de
release of
repente.
Ultimatum,
Muy bien.
Ritual will be added to the
Ya
core
va,
game,
nos cagaron, no
with a
nos
chance
mostraron
to
nada
occur
de,
in each
de
match
Harvest.
play. It
No
has
se dejen
also been
engañar,
added
no
to
se
the
dejen
Atlas
engañar.
passive skill tree
Nos
system
están
that is
cagando.
available
No nos
for
mostraron
16.
nada de Harvest.
Almost every time we release a league, we later roll it into the core game.
No
with a
mostraron
chance to
nada.
spawn
Dijeron y Harvest lo cambiamos y
usually
tal, y no
10%,
mostraron nada.
sometimes 5%. When Ritual is added to the core game, we are standardizing this rate at 8%, which means a small decrease for some leagues and an increase for Harvest. We have rebalanced other things to compensate, like the rate at which heist rogues level up. Most Atlas passive trees have the same
Yo vi un
increase in
tanque.
chance for bonus content. meaning
Harvest,
now
make
double
Harvest
the
great
chance to
again.
encounter
Go,
your preferred content.
spamé.
So I just spent a ton of time describing lots of buffs to Path of Exile's different reward systems, and there was one nerf that I left to last. And this because it's a nerf to a league that I kind of care about a bit. Talisman was one that I kind of led the design on, and
Talisman?
players joke that it's my favorite league. Now, in the 3.12.3 content update, there was a change to talismans. Basically, they weren't good enough, so the team decided to add a random anointment to them, which made them a lot more powerful, and also to juice up the
Van a
mods to make them
nerfear,
well rolled. And that was overkill. Like, as you've seen recently, talismans have just been dropping with insane mods and great anointments, and we felt in this expansion, especially because you can use tainted oils in order to
Van a
redo the
nerfear los
anointments
talismanes.
on
Los talismanes por
and
fin
now
eran
you can apply
ligeramente
corrupted amulets.
usables y ahora
Honestly, they don't
los van a
need the
nerfear.
well-rolled mods anymore.
Ahora los van a
Removed
nerfear.
that. Talismans are still compelling, but they're not quite where they were in the last league. Every Path of Exile expansion needs new
O sea,
ways
por
for
fin los
players to
alemanes
slaughter
eran
their enemies.
competitivos con
Path
lo
of
que
Exile
había.
Ultimatum. This takes the
Y ahora
form of
van a
4 new skill
nerfear de
gems and 4
nuevo.
support gems. In line with Ultimatum's Val theme, these gems focus on blood. The idea is spending life rather than mana to use your skills. Alongside the new skill and support gems, we've also made some adjustments to the low life mechanic,
Por fin
including
eran
changing the low
buenos.
life threshold to 50%.
Por
This
fin
makes
lo
it much
eran.
easier and safer to stay on low life for builds where it matters.
Ok. A ver.
Typically, when players create low-life builds, they rely on
Petrified
energy shield to
Blood.
protect themselves against incoming damage. The new skill Petrified Blood enables low-life builds
What?
to instead use some of their life pool to absorb hits. While it's active, you can't recover life above 50% through any method other than flasks. Sources of life recovery like life regeneration and life leech only apply to the bottom half of your life pool. Additionally, a portion of incoming hit damage that affects the lower half of your life pool is spread out over time rather than being applied instantly.
Oh, wow, esto es bastante OP. Ok, este lo voy a explicar después porque es complejo.
Buff that causes all your hits to apply corrupted blood to your enemies. Corrupted blood stacks
Esto
up with
aplica
each hit, causing more
stacks
and more
como de
physical
Corrupted
damage
Blood
over
en tus
time.
enemigos. Ok, esto es
When you
bastante
have
OP.
consumed a certain amount of life to cast skills from your life pool, the buff's duration refreshes. Essentially, as long as you're consuming life to use skills, you'll be causing damage over time to stack on enemies. Be careful though. The Exsanguinate skill shoots tendrils of blood in front of you at the cost
Okay.
of life rather than
Bleed
mana.
Bow OP,
In addition
exacto.
to a strong physical damage hit, it also applies a physical damage over time debuff, which can stack up to 3 times. You can also
Okay.
support Exsanguinate so that its tendrils chain from one target to the next.
Ok, esto se ve bastante OP también.
Reap conjures a giant bloody scythe
Este me
that swings
encanta.
across a selected area, applying strong hit damage and physical damage over time. Each use of the
Esto es de
skill causes it to
sangre
gain a charge
y
that scales its
hits.
damage up and increases its life cost up to 5 times. These charges drop off over time as well as after killing enemies, making Reap very powerful at stacking up damage against single targets.
Ok.
We've also added 2 new support gems
Arrogant
and split
support.
the existing blood magic support into 2 separate support gems. The first of these is the Arrogant support, which causes supported skills to reserve life instead of mana and also
Reservan
provides
vida
an
en
increase
lugar
to
de
the
mana.
effect of auras that it supports.
Pero incrementan el efecto. Oh, ya.
Just like the original blood magic support gem, the reservation multiplier diminishes as the gem levels up. The life tap support gem causes supported skills to cost
O
life.
sea, es como un
instead of
segundo
mana.
Blood Magic,
Once
pero
you've
especial
consumed
para
a certain
esto.
amount of life to use a skill, you gain life tap, which increases your
Life
damage
tap.
for a few seconds. The Cruelty support gem grants a buff called Cruelty, which increases
Okay.
the damage over time you deal with supported skills. It also
Okay.
boosts the hit damage from supported skills, and the Cruelty buff gets stronger the
Es
harder
como
you
un
hit.
buff a
This
damage
gem is
over time,
designed as an
Cruelty.
additional option for builds that
Cuando lo
focus
apliques
on
con
both
hits.
and damage over time.
Ok.
The
Interesante.
Bloodthirst support gem is a new option for low life attackers.
Bloodthirst
This gem adds a percentage of
hace
your life as
extra de
physical weapon
daño
damage while you're on
cuando estás en low life.
letting low life attack based builds really scale their damage, which wasn't an option before. Alongside a Val themed expansion and
Para
blood
Exile no es suficientemente difícil, así que-
opportunity to improve Val skills, which are supercharged versions of regular gems
What?
that charge up with the souls
Eso
of
se veía
your
muy
slain
lindo.
enemies to deal huge bursts of damage. One of the main improvements is that you now get far more souls for Val skills from damaging unique enemies, so your Val skills will recharge faster against bosses. We've also
Oh,
improved
ahora
the
ganas
series for
souls
unique tool.
para los Val skills
Alongside
cuando
increasing
golpeas a
the duration of your
un,
Val skills, it also grants
a
a
un
chance
único.
to regain all consumed
Eso está
souls.
muy cool.
Val skills have also received a balance pass that you can
Sí,
check out
eso
in
no
the full
sirve,
Path of
Chris,
Exile
eso no
Ultimatum
engañas a
patch
nadie.
notes in
Ese
a few
skill
days.
apesta. Ese
So
skill
we've covered most
apesta.
of the key
No
components
sirve.
that make up Path of Exile Ultimatum. Keep an eye on the news over the next week as we reveal the final
Ese sé que no sirve para nada.
We'll move on to the
El
Q&A
de,
shortly to answer your burning
Earthquake se veía
questions. First, let's have
cool.
a quick look at the new supporter
Pero,
packs that are
ese
available
no.
right now to celebrate the launch of Ultimatum and help fund ongoing development of Path of Exile.
Supporter packs, vamos a
The
ver.
Silver Crescent and Imperial Sun supporter packs come with masses of points to spend in the store, social frames, forum titles and badges, a
El primero
downloadable
me
digital
encanta.
soundtrack, and of course, exclusive cosmetic
Ooh.
microtransactions such as armor sets, alternate helmets, and weapon skins. The Silver Crescent series has an exclusive portal effect, and the Imperial Sun series has an exclusive aura effect. Each series has 2 packs, and the smaller packs can be upgraded to their respective large pack anytime. while
Dios,
they're still
necesito
on
este
sale.
pack.
These are, of course, in addition to the new core packs that were released at the end of
Oh,
last year. Remember to
fuck.
check those out if you haven't already. Thank you so much for your support.
Oh,
Purchases
shit.
of these supporter packs are the only thing that fund ongoing development of Path of Exile, its sequel Path of Exile 2, and expansions
Esos
like
packs son
Ultimatum.
hermosos, se van a forrar, sí.
The reveals we showed
Son
you today
hermosos,
are
sobre todo el
already live
primero.
on YouTube.